Welcome back to the GSL Code 8. It is our final group. We have 2 more players left to get into Code S, and then our lineup for that tournament will be complete. This is Group K, and it's time to find out if 1 or 2 more Terrans can get in, or even possibly 0. Yeah. That's the question in everybody's mind right now.
2 Terrans and 2 Zergs, that's what we have in today's group. 4 players once again, so we have a lot of ZVT coming your way, and we already met with Ryang and Dream a little bit earlier, and both of them looking at us like, we don't know, it's going to be a little bit tough for us to actually advance today, so especially Ryang seemed to be a little bit anxious.
Yeah, he definitely did seem a little bit stressed out, but he seems like he's prepared really well, and that's always the most important thing next to your condition, you know. So yeah. We'll see how well he does today, and Dream, on the other hand, a young player with a lot of potential. It feels like this season has been just kind of littered with these little things like, is Protoss too strong? What about Daedalus Point? Can Terran win? It's just been this crazy season of, even though the games have been really good and the groups have been exciting, there's always these like external factors floating around that people are talking about and discussing, and it makes it like in some ways really interesting, but in other ways, I guess if you're a Terran fan, really frustrating.
Yeah, especially when the Code S season is now coming up and you know that there might even be only 3 Terran players playing. That is, of course, a little bit frustrating. There was this amazing GIF on Reddit this morning. I had so much fun watching that. It's on /r/StarCraft, and it's basically the current TVP discussion from the perspective of a Zerg player. And if you haven't seen that yet, then hop on to Reddit right now and have a quick look at that, because I promise you it's definitely worth it. I laughed loud. That was pretty amazing.
Yeah, definitely check it out. It's worth a look. Yeah. Seriously.
But that's kind of the problem that we have right now. Terran players are having a tough time here, and we have a quick look at the results of our earlier group. It's not only the Terrans that have a tough time, especially on Daedalus Point. Protoss is having a tough time, and this is something that Seed had unfortunately to experience as well. He played an incredible game number 2 against Savage, but then on Daedalus Point he lost not only against Savage but also against Pet. It was in both best of 3 series. The last map, the 2 players that advance are Pet and Dark.
I guess for Savage's sake, at least he does take 1 map against Dark. You can always remember that. He did do that.
Yeah, that's definitely going to cheer him up.
Our final series, the final group, Hydra versus Dream and Ryang versus True. This is going to be a really good one. True, the original Peter Pans, are never going to Hive Tech, always sticking on Ling Muta Baneling against his Fantasy in a crazy long game on a big map. Would love to see him pick some big max against Ryang if he needs to. And I really feel like we could actually have both of these Zergs get out of this group, to be honest. It's just going to be a matter of the Terran players' performance today.
I want to see a lot of mech play coming out of the Terrans today. It's going to be really exciting. I feel we're going to see good matches, that much for sure, and our opening games are already going to be really good. So it should be a really interesting group here, and I think that the Terrans definitely have a shot here. I feel we have at least one. I personally think it's going to be 1 Zerg and a Terran player. I think Ryang is going to get out there, but I really hope it's going to be at least 1 Terran.
I feel like both Zergs will get out, but I think if one of the Terrans will get out, it will be Ryang. Dream is a great player, but he has to really put on the heat today, pull all the stops, because he's kind of a passive player at times when it comes to... I mean, he's a great player when it comes to harassment. I don't want to say that he's passive, but in general, he doesn't fire up and go crazy like we saw Seed playing today, and sometimes you just have to do that to get out of the group.
Yeah, but Dream is someone who has a really decent Terran versus Zerg, so is not bad in the matchup at all. And while he's the first Terran player today that's playing on here in Heavy Rain, he's going up against Hydra.
Yeah.
And Hydra just comes off a loss against Reality in Pro League, so let's see what he can do against Dream here. This is the best of 3, of course, and Heavy Rain is our first map today.
Well, this is really important for Hydra in general, going back to what you just said, because...
Someone's choosing up.
Yeah, he's, I think he's about to have some Nesquik, but,
yeah, it really looks like it. That's where he gets his power from. I knew that was a secret.
Dream is such a kid, man. The Hydra has not won anything in Pro League, and his team is basically in the same place, almost falling behind Prime in the statistics, which is a terrible place to be. So for him, he really wants to prove himself here and at least get into Code S, because if he doesn't get out of this group, everyone's going to be like, Hydra, you're just the guy who lost a bunch of points with CJ Antis, then fell back to Code B. What's going on with you? He's got to stay focused on this group, and I think this is one way he can prove himself, because if I'm CJ Antis, I'm not putting him out anymore for a while.
Well, he has to prove himself right now. It's the GSL Code, ladies and gentlemen. Terran versus Zerg. Let's jump into game number 1 here on Heavy Rain. Hydra going up against Dream. Brought to you by Colin Wolf.
Hydra versus Dream.
Hydra starting to the bottom of the map here on Heavy Rain at the GSL Code. The Zerg player going up against a Terran in this first map of potentially 3 in the series. Going up against the MVP player starting to the top of the map. This is Dream. A pretty good track record against Zerg so far. He has to prove it today if he wants to advance to Code S. Only 3 Terran players in Code S so far. Code A, also called the Terran Graveyard, at least this season.
Seems that way. Well, here comes the drone scout for Hydra. Wants to identify what he's up against right away. Dream has shown the proclivity on this map in particular to sometimes go for proxies. And he doesn't want to have that, of course. So he's going to go and check it out. And he doesn't, you know, he doesn't actually have to worry about anything like that. It looks like it's just going to be standard play from Dream so far. Not even a CC first, just going to go into the Reaper expand.
Dream has actually pretty good chances of accomplishing something here today because he has a very, very solid Zerg versus Terran. If you look at his match history, not the map score, then he has 20 best of 3s played. Oh, sorry, he has actually 28 played and he won 20 of them. That leaves him with a 71 win ratio in the matchup. If you look at the maps, it's a little bit less. He has a 66% win ratio with 38 maps won and 19 lost, which is still very, very solid considering the players that he was matched up against. So he is one of those guys who can really get out of this group today. I personally favor Young a little bit over him. But still, it could also be both Terran players advancing. It depends, of course, a lot on what shape they're in today. It's one of the advantages or disadvantages they have with the group system compared to the old format of Code A that we had, where you were spreading the games out over several weeks and you were just playing a bracket system. So it was very, very different. I personally think that the group system is a little bit fairer towards the players, but it is pretty spot on in terms of that you have to perform on one day. And if that's a bad day for you, if you're feeling sick or anything else, then you are just out of luck.
Yeah, I actually still like both groups equally. Like, I can't actually favor one or the other. I like that this one is different.
That doesn't count. That is like that's the coward's way out, Wolf. You have to make a choice.
If I had to choose, I would actually say I still like the old one a little bit better. Tiny bit, like a tiny fraction. Because it was so hard, it felt like being in Code S was like so crazy that if you made it there, you were like beating the person who dropped out of Code S in the 3rd round, trying to get right back in, and he only had to win 1 best of 3. But I mean, I like this one too.
I like this one for the viewers. It's just like if you have like a favorite player, you can follow him throughout the day, and it's just pretty exciting to me. I love group systems much more.
But it's definitely much more fun to cast too, actually, the group system, in my opinion.
There's more dynamic.
Yeah.
You don't have just random matches of the same stage in the bracket thrown in one day and one cast.
This is really weird, by the way. He actually commits to a bunker. We don't really see this, like, ever. And he's actually going to trade pretty well with it if he gets in there.
Well, the thing is that the bunker is actually not going to do too much, or at least he should not. He will be annoying.
But he gets a lot of Zerlings with this, actually, compared to what he would normally get. And he's... I mean, he's going to be able to salvage that.
Well, the thing is, he's not going to pressure the hatch. That's what more important.
Right. I mean, he's just trading against Zerglings with this, and the Zerg will have to react, and it actually annoys him quite a bit with his queen there.
You could really see, on the other hand, that Dream didn't even, or Hydra didn't even try to do anything against that. But so far, Dream is doing a good job here, and he's baiting out a lot more Zerglings than the Zerg is usually comfortable building.
Yeah, with just 2 Reapers. I actually really like this. If you can get away with getting that bunker up, I think it's definitely worth it. He saves the Reapers. I don't know if he got away with the salvage. I think he did, because there's no queens over there. And he's still getting more Zerling kills. This is way more than you're supposed to ever get. I mean, without a bunker.
He's doing a really good job with those Reapers. That's definitely true. And at the same time, Hydra is a little bit sloppy with his queens here. He should have committed the queens a lot faster to the defense in the main base, which he didn't do. So there was quite some pressure coming from Dream. That gives him a bit of an edge in the early stages of the game. We have, of course, the Terran player also with an expansion by now, and here in Heavy Rain, one of the things is always this 3rd base. It's very much exposed. Terran players can always lift onto the high ground, but just in general, this is one of the aspects where you have to be very careful, since the 3rd is just so far over there.
We're going to have mech. Feeling it. We have just that mech-oriented opening with Double Reaper. He let Zerling into his base once, not going to happen twice. I love this little counterattack using the Zerling speed to catch Dream off guard a little bit, forcing these units back as well, losing a mule. going to affect his income, but he isn't adding any Marines. He's getting Banshees. Well, he should be. There it is. Starts the Cloak and the Banshee. And Barracks just sitting tight, which means we're definitely going to see mech. Not going to waste any resources on any additional Marines. Not going to want those. Not going to need those.
Yeah, and the main question now, how much damage is he going to do with the Banshee? The Banshee definitely has quite the shot of doing something here, especially if those units are sticking around at the front trying to occupy the Queens and, of course, baiting them to the front. That's what he can always do with them. That third base, he cannot really take this down just now, but the Queens will try to spread the creep as fast as they can so that they actually can contest the Hellions and the Reapers there. If they're this much exposed on the without creep, you can actually try to aim them down, and they're already losing a lot of hit points. That will make the work of the Banshee a lot easier.
So true. And the Banshee will
lose one. Oh,
almost.
Close.
Just barely has enough energy for a transfuse. These two Hellions need to turn around, though. Whoa! Dream loses a lot of hit points on those Hellions, and every hit point counts in this type of situation. Banshee is now flying across the map. Double evolution chamber is started. He has no spores to speak of, so he can't even reposition one. He's going to have to start one from scratch as soon as the Banshee arrives. Completely
relying on the Queens here, and without the detection, it's definitely going to be a problem for him. He's going to lose a few units there. Main question is, will Dream realize what's going on? There's the Banshee, and the first Queen is being sniped.
It's not ready. He has to pull back. Cannot lose that Banshee.
Yeah, and it's close. The Banshee is actually way down in hit points, but look how far those Queens wander out of creep.
And they're so low on hit points. One goes down, the second one's going to go down here as well, so all three of them gone. That means only one Queen left to defend this, and he's made so many Zerlings that his worker count is now falling below Dream's at 39 to 38, and this hatchery is still taking damage. He's not going to kill it, I don't think, but like...
Well,
he's getting close, man.
He has a shot with the Banshee, and the second one moving in. He definitely has a chance of killing that hatch, and I think he will, actually. The Banshees alone should do a lot of damage. He needs to get a Spore Crawler over here. And look how many Zerglings die.
Yeah, and how many he made.
Executing so much pressure.
This is going to be it. With the second Banshee here, I think he's going to lose the hatch.
He's going to lose the Queens, which is nearly more important, depending on how those Zerglings are going to do right now. Actually, the Zerglings finally getting a few surrounds off, but the Banshee's already taking down Queen number 1. 5 Queens in total have been lost, and now the Spore Crawler comes over, but he can just dodge it out.
Yep,
exactly.
He's going to lose the hatch. The hatch hasn't even been mining this whole time anyways. Worker count still 10 up for Dream, and that's not because he killed Harvesters. That's because he didn't make Harvesters, because he was making Zerlings to defend this pressure.
Crazy good start here. Even kills those active creep tumors, and that was very sloppy by Hydra, not simply cancelling those out. So that is a very good start here for our Terran player, doing a great job in game number 1. Back at home, he's getting those additional factories. Now we have even a better commitment or more committed strategy going into additional Banshees. And with 4 or 5 Banshees, you can do an incredible amount of damage, especially against an opponent who has just a single Queen.
Yep. He's just avoiding the Spore Crawlers. There's no Lair, there's no Overseer, so if he goes away from the Spores, he's going to lose it. And actually, he may lose his Queen anyways. Goodbye.
Oh my god, I mean, this could not be worse. He snipes at least one of the Banshees, but so many Harvesters already down. He's currently looking at 44 against 55. The Terran player has that third base on the way, and also, of course, the extra mules. The Queens, there's only 1 Queen for Hydra. His production is so bad right now.
This one Banshee will help to deter these Zerlings going for the run-by. And 2 additional factories coming in here, making 5 in total. Hellions actually escape because he knows there's no Queens. More and more drones going down. Hydra might actually just type out here and say, you know what, I'm done with this game. I'm going to game 2.
Yeah, Hydra is currently getting demolished in this match. This is a bit sloppy here by Dream, but he's busy with his Hellions doing damage at the natural.
22 workers killed, plus all the units. He's killed 107 in this game. 107. The Zerlings, the Queens, the 23 drones.
This is getting crazy, especially with that third base being so late for Hydra, him being down to 38 Harvesters.
Look at the supply in total. 96 to 58.
Yeah,
96 to 58.
This is crazy, and it is not at all what you want if you're going up against a mech player.
One upgrade's about to be done actually for Dream 2 for his mech, and they may actually already be done as we speak because he started those quite early. And what he probably is going to do is just wait until he has about 140 army supply or so with, or not army supply, but total supply with a few Thors out here, and just roll with it.
I mean, losing the Banshees is definitely annoying, and that's something where he would have wanted to have a bit of better control, but he was so busy just macroing 3 armies or 3 positions at the same time that it's absolutely understandable that he was neglecting the Banshee positioning just for a few seconds here. The problem is how much damage he already dealt to his opponent. There's a GG since Hydra just realizes
he's like, I'm never coming back.
I can never come back in this position. And there I tell you, it's the drink. It's a chocolate milk that he's drinking right now. That's it.
Nesquik, man. You remember? Did you have those commercials in Germany for Nesquik where like somebody like throws a baseball over the fence and he's like too scared to cross, but then there's Nesquik and everything's okay?
I think we did, but
Some
like,
Americans
ours were a little bit different.
Some Americans out there are like, I know what Wolf's talking about. That commercial was terrible, and that the old man wasn't even that mean.
We had different brands of like the cacao stuff, those cacao drinks, and the thing is, Nesquik was always my least favorite.
I never really liked milk, so
Yeah, you're weird, we know. But yeah,
a lot of people don't like milk.
it's probably just American milk. I heard bad things about American milk, mainly from Artosis, so I'm not quite sure if it's true because.
Well, Artosis hasn't crossed to vegan, so we're all good.
Artosis always tells me that he doesn't eat all his cereal just with water, and that is so disgusting to me.
Oh my god, don't even say that. I don't even like cereal with milk, but like I can imagine it more than I can with water.
Yeah, he like always talks about like milk in the US doesn't taste good, and that's why he drinks it with water. And I'm like, how can you actually do that? Like, especially the milk in Korea.
Dry
is good,
cereal
so
is
just
better
try
than
it.
that,
It's
man.
like, yeah, exactly. Dry cereal is better than cereal with water, but I don't know. You know,
Well,
Dan, he's weird sometimes.
Daedalus Point is the map. Hydra versus Dream. Hydra picks it. He picks the map with a big choke. Going to make it a little bit tougher for Dream, but if Dream can control the map as well as he did in game number 1, I guess that wide open ramp won't really matter.
Going into the game right now here, the GSL Code A Hydra versus Dream, brought to you by Colin Wolf.